Acha, we'll skip over Qazi. We'll come to you in a bit.
Yep.
Your stuff changed.
Yeah.
This year, you
Yeah.
had a new name.
Completely.
Acha, Nazar is a podcaster. In case you're not aware, Nazar and Qazi both are podcasters, and they have a separate channel as well.
Yes.
तुम्हारी conversation, I am assuming, थोड़ी मुख्तलिफ इसलिए होगी क्योंकि तुम पाकिस्तान में नहीं रहते.
Yes.
Though even though तुम्हारी audience is primarily Pakistani,
No, the divide is 50-50. Yeah.
50
50 Pakistani and then 50 is American, Canadian, UK based.
Would you say they are Pakistanis there?
Yes.
अच्छा.
Yes.
Whites नहीं मिले अभी तक तुम्हें.
थोड़े से.
अच्छा थोड़े से. तो what this year you had a rebrand.
Yes.
ठीक है, you went from the broadcast podcast to Vaguely Familiar.
Yes.
When?
Sometime in the summer. Not exactly sure. I think it was May or June.
अच्छा.
Yeah.
बड़ा एक schedule आया, बड़ा plan आया.
Yeah.
कितने साल से तुम हो YouTube पे with the podcast?
2.
अच्छा.
You're
familiar with these stories. Now,
Yes.
I don't think you've done any branded work yet.
No, not yet.
But have you been keeping an eye on Pakistan ka YouTube, or do you consider yourself part of Canada ka YouTube scene?
So, Irfan Bhai se maine ek cheez sikhi thi, and he was very adamant about that. Ke, even though you might get a lot of numbers from Pakistan,
Yeah.
you might not get that same kind of revenue.
Yeah.
Right? AdSense ki baat kar rahe the. So we made a conscious decision when we were switching off to when we were rebranding. Ke yaar, Pakistani audience, even though they might be a little bit easier to capture,
Right.
that is not our focus.
Yeah.
So
easier
that's why,
because they're Pakistani, you're Pakistani.
Yeah, exactly. So diaspora hota hai, you can hit the cultural beats and you can sort of capitalize on that. But we wanted to not do that. So first thing we did was we made our podcast completely English.
Right.
ठीक है. तो उससे ये हो गया कि जो पाकिस्तानी ऑडियंस थी जिनको इंटरेस्ट था they were tuning in, but then we were also hitting markets that we wouldn't have if our podcast was Urdu.
Yeah.
Language barrier की वजह से.
Yeah.
So that's the number one thing that we did. But we still talk about Pakistani stuff because we're cricket fans. So Pakistani cricket is our focus.
Right.
One of the wings of our podcast. And we branch off and we talk about Pakistani cricket a lot, but it's all in English.
Right. And your own channel?
And my own channel is super English. It's such a small, it's about like, it's a booktuber channel.
Right.
Which is just talking about books, writing, publishing.
Because you are a writer.
Because I'm a writer as well.
Right.
So it's sort of chronicling my life as a writer, reacting to things, reviewing books.
Did that start this year?
That started this year, yes.
Okay. Yes. How has the growth been? You said you're at 250?
I'm at 250 because I had a viral video.
Yeah.
Which hit about 10,000 views. To uski wajah se,
the Taylor Swift one.
Thank you, Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Writer reacts to Taylor Swift. Yeah,
she
that one did really well.
asked for royalties. But, okay.
Yeah. So uski wajah se the growth like kind of spiked. But to be honest, I haven't been consistent enough on my channel to expect a growth like Qazi Bhai's.
Yeah.
But mashallah.
Yeah.
And but inshallah 2022 is the year that I will be focusing
Did you see the change in from broadcast podcast to Vaguely Familiar? Did that show immediate results?
Not immediate results, but I think it was a little bit more organized.
Right.
Broadcast podcast firstly was a tongue twister. Secondly, was it was scattered, chaotic tha. We had a lot of ideas,
right.
But we didn't have them organized.
Right.
So when we were setting up Vaguely Familiar, we wanted to make sure that our ideas are organized. Okay, we will separate the podcast sort of into 4 parts. One will be guest based, one will be cricket based because we love cricket. One will be movies based, and one will be music based. 4. Okay. 4 wings. And that way we can chronicle कि यार जिसको हमारी क्रिकेट की बातें इंटरेस्टिंग लगती हैं वो क्रिकेट की चीज़ें सुने और फिर आगे बढ़े.
Right.
जो people who are interested in our opinions on movies and they can go to that part and then so on and so forth. And that really helped because my brother has amazing cricket insights and people actually are very interested in what he has to say because he's sort of like the cricket guru.
Right.
And whenever we World Cup आया था T20 World Cup and our numbers were great.
Right.
Up to our contextually.
You're doing lives as well.
Lives as well. We did the whole Pakistan India live.
Yeah.
And that was great. We had like 1200-1300 views on that. And audio platforms are actually very intriguingly very good for us. And when we switched from Buzzsprout to Anchor, we saw that Spotify was actually kind of pushing our stuff a little bit more.
Right.
So yeah, I mean the growth is because it's our first year doing it, and we didn't have any high benchmarks, high numbers. Hamara expectations ko itni astronomical nahi thi, so we kind of met them all. But now as we're pushing into our second year, we have better and
you don't have a brand conversation, maybe because you're too small.
Yes.
But the size that you have now has not prevented you from reaching out to big YouTubers.
No.
and they have also not ignored you.
No, yeah, correctly. One of our first big guests was Irfan bhai,
Yeah.
and I just shot him an email,
Yeah.
and he was like, "हाँ मैं आ जाऊँगा."
Okay.
And that was the case for a lot of big people we got. We got Coldplay ka music director, which you will probably hate, but he was on the podcast, and it was a cold tweet. I just tweeted at him. I was like, "Matt."
But Ali Abdal
was the same thing. Uske थोड़े पीछे पड़ना पड़ा था.
Sure.
But he came on the podcast.
But he didn't say no.
No, he never said no.
Yeah.
I never got a no. The thing is, I would rather prefer no's. I think you and I talked
Sure,
about this.
sure.
I get ghosted a lot if I'm like Peter McKinnon, Maddie Hapoya. I tried those hands. I got ghosted. Khair, Maddie ka to khair, a manager said no later on, but for a while I was ghosted. And I would rather take the no's over the ghosts. Yeah.
Sure, but like we don't have to get into all the names as yet because
Sure.
some of them are in progress.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting to a segue.
Yeah.
And wo ye hai ke your size is not considered a barrier when with regards to the community being open to coming on the show.
Sometimes it is.
Sure.
One of the managers literally told us you're way too small for the person we're representing. And
Did
so
they have an idea of how big is big enough?
No, but I think I did. I think they were looking for something between at least 5,000 plus
Acha.
subscribers wise.
Right.
And I guess that makes sense because that person has been on stuff that is far smaller, but not smaller than 5,000. I
Right.
then went back and like searched
On YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
Right. We're not looking at audio here.
No, I'm
Right,
just talking about YouTube numbers, the ones that I could see, because audio numbers you can't really tell, right?
You can't really tell. Yeah.
YouTube numbers you can. So I was just going through the interviews that person had been on, and the lowest I saw was like 5,000, 6,000. So I'm assuming that was like the benchmark.
Okay.